All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and maybe good evening. I don't know where in the world that you are at, that you are watching this, but I will tell you the folks that I'm talking to today. I'm in Mountain Time, and Corey is in Pacific Time, so we're on the West. And Corey, this is kind of unique for me because I very rarely get to speak to people that are on the West or in my time zone. Because 65%, I don't know if you know this, but 65% of the United States population is in the Eastern time zone. So 340 million people, and over half of them are in the Eastern time zone. So usually I'm talking to somebody on the East Coast. So there's, there's 15% in Central, which is Texas and Chicago are the big cities that are in Central. And then there's, the West Coast, which is, California, Oregon, and Washington, and that's about 15%. And then I live in Colorado, which is only Colorado, Wyoming, New Mexico, and Montana, which is nobody lives in those states, right? We got a few people, about 8 million people who live here in Colorado. And then Wyoming's got like 12 people, and Montana's got like 6. So it's amazing when you think about. I'm excited that I get to speak with you or talk to you. We think about living boldly with purpose, and what does that mean to take our best life and to be able to make it happen. And so Corey and I have been able to have a couple conversations and be able to, really kind of just get to know what he does in the financial services world and the things that he's able to help people out with. And so today's show is going to be a treat. Today's show is going to be learning about Corey. And, I love to say that people want to know who you are before they know what you do. But I have a feeling on this show, people are going to want to know what you do and how to take advantage of it, because you're in one of those areas where people just don't understand. And I don't know if it's because we're never taught that stuff. I mean, I'm thinking through elementary, junior high school, even in college, I never got any information on my personal finance. I might got like an accounting something, but nobody's like, okay, you're going to make all this money for your whole life. You're going to spend, 40 years making it, maybe 40 to 45, 50 years making it. You're going to spend another, 30 to 40 years now with people living to 100, spending it, and yet we don't teach it. How is that? I mean, it makes like no sense whatsoever. They'll teach us how to put some Legos together, which we'll never use in our life. They teach us how to do trigonometry and calculus, which we'll never use in our life, but they don't want to teach us about money or anything else. So excited about you being on the show today. Corey, I've asked you to tell your story. Your story can start wherever you want in life. My suggestion is you don't make it up, because your mom is going to watch this. And when she does, if you made it up, she go, that didn't happen. And then she'll give you a call. But other than that, just tell us about like who you are, where you came from, what you're enjoying in life. And then we'll just chop it up after that and talk about money.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. I'll just start out real simple. I mean, my name's, of course, here, Corey Nunes. I'm the owner of Corey Nunes Capital. I grew up on a dairy farm. I understood what the day-to-day how to work hard, show up, and earn what you get, right? Mm-hmm. I graduated high school with honors. I tried college for a little bit, but I went back to the dairy. Became a partner. And then by the time I was 22, I thought I had to follow a gal out of state, and realized that was a mistake. But, live and learn. I sold out my partnership, and then came to Northern California to stay for a couple of weeks, and ended up never leaving. Worked in the trades for a while, became my own general contractor. So ran a great business, was doing well. And then, of course, what hit us all? COVID.
2008. COVID. 2020.
I started my construction company in 2007.
Oh, gosh. Oh, no.
I started at the wrong time, right?
Yeah.
The wrong time.
Oh, my gosh.
But those are the blessings, though. When you can start something and everything falls out from underneath you early and you make the struggles, you didn't know what the easy was, right? So you were just in a struggle. You just thought you're going to work.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a blessing in that part, because a lot of contractors at that time, businesses failed. because they had major overhead, major things going on in 2008. But I survived. Then I made it all the way to our COVID, right? COVID hit me hard. I had some nice jobs lined up where people were just like, you know what? We're really concerned about what's going to happen right now. We don't want to have anything done. So my big jobs, I'm like, now how am I going to pay my bills? How's this going to work? My help didn't even, the help that you got, they're not sure if they want to go to work, or they do want to go to work. They just don't know, because nobody knew what was going on at that time. So with no work, that's the way it was. So I go, I need to figure out a way to make sure I'm working and have money coming in all the time. So I dived in to financial consulting, financial services, just starting to learn about money, where to put money, how to make money grow and work for itself. That we always hear those stories where, I make money at night even when I'm sleeping because my money's working for me. So I dove into it and just decided to go get my license. Got the license, got the life insurance license. It started out right there. But I tell you what, I got humbled very, very fast. But those recruiters, man, they make it sound easy, right? Oh, this is how you do it. This is what you're going to do. You're going to make so much money. It wasn't easy. And I'll tell you what, most people fail in the industry. But I just treated it like I did everything else in my life. Went to work, kept pushing, learned new ways, new strategies, made things happen. And I carry that with me every single day. And so the realization was, just keep educating yourself, learn every product, every strategy, and every solution that's out there. And you'll be able to solve the problems for what your clients need.
Yeah.
So I did that. And now here's what I see over and over again. A business owner, someone like anybody else out there, has employees, right? They're showing up, they're doing the right things, they're serving their clients, they're paying their bills, they're paying their people, they're keeping the lights on. And at the end of the month, they realize, where did all my money really go?
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah.
So so I just try to help them find out where that money's going. It's leaking out somewhere. It's going somewhere, right? Where's it missing? And so that's what I've been doing for the last 5 years in the consulting business. Is really my business has rolled into helping the business owners, because that's when I seen when I was a general contractor, right?
Okay.
All these general contractors, how do they retire? When you're just that small company, the business owner's out there working every day, and when he retires, he has a bunch of wore out tools and a broken down body. That's what's left. That's his retirement.
Yeah.
That's not retirement. That's a service.
Yes. Wow.
So that's not what I wanted. I wanted to find a way to help the business owners, and I focused my company on that. And we come across, different products that help business owners do that. We got a program that a business owner can simply fill out a form. We can come back with some simple solutions, and to really see where maybe some holes are where it's leaking in their business, where the money's leaking. I mean, not even ask them to spend any money. The simple things that you can change in your payroll, simple things you can change in little spots, maybe your technology, maybe little things where it may not cost you nothing. Maybe it might cost you a little, but the rewards are great. Everywhere you can save some money is a key piece for a business owner nowadays. And small business owners are the backbone of this country. We all know that. I mean, if we had to depend on Amazon all the time, it's not going to work. Our local people are what really keep us going.
Yeah, I know that we talk so much about small businesses running our country, but I don't think we realize how much small business runs our country, and folks that are trying to figure it out and make it work. And just so happy that you're in that space now, that you're in that space where you think of business owners who are, for some of them, they're eking out a living. And like you said, they get to retirement because they've been eking out a living, for 30 or 40 years. And sometimes they're good livings, and there's great times, and then there's, thin times, but they keep working at it. I try to support small business. My wife has an embroidery business that that she runs full time. And then I have my consulting business and that kind of stuff that I do. And I love doing it. But there are times you go, wait a minute, I have to keep hustling. At what age am I not going to? Where sometimes we depend on other, as we're working through corporate and pretending like that, that I'm not pretending, but they're taking care of us, and it's somebody else has a responsibility, and then we have the nerve to get mad at them, for not giving us what we thought we deserved. Like, why aren't they paying me more? They should be paying me. I hear conversations like that all the time, from somebody who's working for somebody else saying, well, they got money to pay you. They should be giving you more. They should be giving you a raise. They should be da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And you're like, wait a minute. If you walked in their shoes for a moment, I know you brought up the dairy farm. My grandpa had a dairy farm in Lamar when I was growing up, and I would spend my summers. And what I realized from that is that's not what I wanted to do in my life. I mean, that was work. And I'm seeing my grandpa at 40 and 50 and 60, still mending fences, still getting up at 5 a.m. to start milking cows, and then, turn around, do a whole bunch of stuff during the day. And then at 5 p.m., come back and milk some more cows. I mean, it's like, oh my gosh. And then, and I'm like, well, when does grandpa get to take a vacation? When does he get to go out and enjoy all the fruits of his labor? Other than, it was some incredible milk that we got to drink, but at what expense now that I got older? And I just remember how much hard work it is. And so I appreciate you doing that. When we talk about identity and because you've had a couple different career choices, and then just from where you grew up, what gave you the identity, or how did that identity progress to the point where you're at right now, where you're able to help so many people?
That is a great question, because your identity is pretty much where everybody starts at, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just fall real quick back on when I started my general contracting business. Nobody's seen me as a general contractor,
mm-hmm.
right? They don't see you as that. You're just starting a business. They're thinking, oh, good luck,
Mm-hmm.
And as you progress, they see that you're doing good work and everything. Okay, then they start to see you as a general contractor. Well, then I go into financial consulting. They don't see me as a financial consultant.
Nope.
They see me as a general contractor. So you're changing your identity all the time, and people kind of like looking at you like, what are you doing now? But I think you just do what you got to do when you have to do it, and hopefully you can end up doing something that you love. And I think that'll show through. Like, I really wish I could have started this business before I started my contracting business,
mm-hmm.
right? But I'm not 100% sure I was mature enough at the time to do it. There's a lot of things that has to do with age and where you're at in your life and what you can and can't do. And this is where we're at now, and I love it, and I can't beat it. It's a way to have the identity and help other people at the same time. And that, that's where I want to be, is to help everybody, right? I even have the nonprofit side of my business, where it's not a nonprofit of mine, but we support nonprofits.
Mm-hmm.
We have a product that if they come through Corey Nunes Capital, that nonprofits are going to get a donation every month from Corey Nunes Capital if a business owner runs their program through us. And it'll be in my name. So donated by Corey Nunes Capital and
mm-hmm.
ABC Construction, let's say, right? Donated X amount of dollars to this nonprofit this month, and continue on. And me and the business owner will always discuss if we want to change the direction of the nonprofit, we can do that. We can give to multiple nonprofits. But it's a way to give back to the community. I like it where everybody wins, right? The employer wins, I win, the employees win, the nonprofit wins. Everybody wins. Everybody gets a piece of the money.
You brought up something very interesting, that as we talked about identity, you brought in the maturity and being the person that can do it. I can remember when I did financial services, and I've kind of moved from that, because I started, not when you started, you started your construction company in 2007. Well, I started my financial service business in 2000, and I grew it till 2008 hit. Then it just went like it was just not. It was like a big explosion, because I also had a mortgage company at the time, and I had so many loans in the pipeline, so many loans that were ready to fund, And all of a sudden the next day there was no loans available for like 6 months. It wasn't for, just this bit of time. And I remember trying to keep my business afloat and paying the rent in my office and, keeping the employees together. And it would just became so difficult to be able to do. But I don't know if it was today that I went through it, I probably would have went through it a little bit differently. Well, I know I would have, because I wouldn't have had the overhead that, because now hindsight is 2020, right? And paying, $15,000, $20,000 a month for an office space is probably not a good idea when it can just explode and you're into a lease and a contract, and you think of those things a little bit differently right now. And I don't know if there's people that are watching or people that are thinking about whether they're in business or not, that you have to grow into things. I mean, when you're 28 years old, there's not going to be a whole bunch of 50-year-olds that are going to want to give you their money to invest, right? Because they're like, okay, do you have a clue what you're doing? Because you have no experience, right? So part of the maturity is just life and being part of that. And so I think it's so cool that you got into it later on, that, hey, you have some experience. I think what's fantastic, and maybe you can talk about it a little bit, is because you had a general contractor's license and because you went through the struggle and the ups and the downs of what it meant to be a small business owner, all of a sudden you got a whole bunch of credibility, right?
Yeah, it gives you some credibility. Absolutely. I mean, they especially when I'm talking to another general contractor, right? Mm-hmm. It's really easy. Now, if I'm talking to, let's just say a restaurant owner, right? Mm-hmm. Little different. There's a little different, more pain points here, different pain points there, right? But as far as talking within the trades that you've already been in, or the industry you've already been in, it's an easy conversation to have with them, and it's really simple to find out where they're already leaking money, right? And what's going on there.
Well, I can imagine even if you're talking to somebody in a restaurant business, that you've had a business. So you can say the restaurant business, hey, I know if people don't show up to this restaurant today, you ain't gonna have any money. Or, something happens in your kitchen, or something, happens where you don't have the supply. I mean, I think for the last several years, we've had issues with supply and demand and supply, with people getting stuff that they need to be able to do stuff. I even think gas prices, you're in California, so you guys have astronomical gas prices that are just unreal. People weren't expecting that. That's not in a budget. And if you have a business that requires vehicles, I mean, how do you do it? I mean, are there some safeguards and some things that you're able to help people with that can ebb and flow with our economy and stuff?
Well, I mean, lending side of it, right? If you need to get a little lending, some little, get some money that you can have off to the side there that you can have for your emergency fund. Sure. We've helped some small businesses get, some small funding so they can get through these hard times and wait till things get over. We definitely helped them find that. But there's a lot to be said for being a business owner, and you got to kind of be responsible and save money too on the side. Because if you wait too long, and I don't know how it was for you, but most business owners, they wait to the last second to go try to get a loan. The last second. And we know how hard that is, because the bank, number one, they don't want to give you any money when you need it. They only want to give you money when you don't need it. Yeah. It's tough.
Oh my gosh. And like you said, on the other side of, I gave the gas, prices and what could happen to your business. But we think about what could happen to our lives without maybe the right insurances. I think of death insurance as the ultimate, but when we think about like long-term insurance or disability, these things that will happen if you get hurt, I think the small business, that's like the last thing that they do is invest in themselves, because they're just trying to invest in the business so the business can make more money. And then they wake up 10, 15, 20 years later and go, wait a minute, I spent 100% of the money that came in on everything else. And now I'm going, wait a minute. Are you able to help like folks like trying to see that no matter what the times are, you still need to put a little bit away, even if it's insurances and other things, but you need to put some stuff away?
Yeah, we have some strategies. We got some simple things that they can just put in place that, like, okay, let's just take a baby step and let's just start this. Like a high yield savings account, right? How many business owners own, they got their checking account and they may have a personal savings account. Well, that's just savings account, ain't paying nothing. Tie a high yield savings account to it, right? Now you're going to make these a little bit of money. These, like say, these small little steps will add up. And if you can just start putting certain little small things in place, it'll start developing into it. And then what helps with me is that builds a relationship, and I get to kind of see where they're headed and where they want to be. Because it's hard to walk into a brand new business owner you've never seen before and build that relationship and think that you're both going to communicate well enough to do business together.
Yeah. I think the other thing that people maybe don't always think through is even like taxes, and they think about, taxes and debt are those two things that, like you said, we wake up and we do what we got to do all day. You get your groceries and you get your stuff, and then you look at your books and go, wait a minute, what's going on here? And where are the leaks and where are those happening? What are some simple strategies that maybe somebody could hey, if I could just do this every single day, then it's going to be better. It might be as simple as, how about check your bank account every day?
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you help folks out with in that area?
Well, check their bank account. That's definitely a good one. Know where your ins and outs are coming from your bank. But your payroll, that's all part of the banking system. Watch your payroll, because there's certain things in payroll that can be done. And it's not, some business owners depend on their payroll company to do that. Well, they do payroll. They don't do payroll, planning. They don't do any of that stuff. They just do payroll. There's a lot of planning that's involved. Tax planning. CPAs do taxes. They don't do tax planning. There's that other world of the side that you think that somebody that's already handling it is going to be giving you all the answers. And it's not that they can't or they don't. It's just that they just don't know. So you need to kind of allow yourself to have the conversations with somebody like me or somebody else, whoever it may be, to go out there and learn about other strategies out there, because not everything is going to fit your business, but there's something out there that will fit your business, and you need to be open-minded to accept it and take it in.
Yeah. When you think about the human factor of planning, and I know you have to deal with this sometimes, because what you just said is like payroll planning. One of the things that I believe that folks don't spend a lot of time with is, hey, I don't have enough money coming in right now, but I'm responsible for another human being's life. And those are tough calls and almost impossible to make, because, you have an employee or employees that are depending on you, and they just had a little baby, or that they just, something happened in their lives where, they may have even come to you. I can remember some of the times when I still remember some of the time when people come to me like, wait a minute, this just happened in my life. Can you help out? Is there is it just sitting with them and saying, I hear you, I understand? Or how do you help people when you know that they're coming to you because they're struggling, but they're still responsible for others?
That's the responsibility of a business owner. I feel if you have employees, you're responsible for them and their families.
Yeah.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, they need to have responsibility to show up for work and do the job they're hired to do, right? That's what you pay them for. But when you hire them, if you take care of them, they will take care of you. That's the whole thing about business. And I learned that very strongly when I was in a construction company. Mm-hmm. The better you take care of your employees, the happier they are, the more they want to show up to work. It's just that way. If you make a bad environment, it's tough. It's tough. And one bad employee can make a whole bunch of bad employees. So you got to be careful when you're hiring, and you need to be extremely careful when we fire people or let them go, however you want to word it. You need to be careful how you do that and make sure it's done properly, and try to leave the least amount of bad taste in everybody's mouth when it happens.
Yeah, because that same one bad employee that you get rid of can be that town person that everybody wants to know about, and they tell everybody about your business, and all of a sudden you got a bad rep, even though it might have been that one person's fault. Or, hey, they didn't show up to work every time. They didn't tell everybody that. They didn't tell everybody that they were stealing from you, and you had to fire because they're stealing, so I totally agree. You live in rural America, which is different than the metropolitan city. I don't know if you've ever lived in a metroplex or anything, but what is the mentality that you have to bring into a small environment or a small town where everybody kind of knows everybody? I'm sure you're not in one of those cities like 500 people, but still, I bet everybody's connected. There's probably nobody in town that you meet that you don't know somebody they know.
We have a saying in our town here: if you don't know what you're up to, just ask your neighbor; they'll tell you.
I love that. Oh my gosh, I love that. So do you try to spend most of your time in your own city, or do you branch out? How does that work?
Branch out. I got, clients all over the country, right? But I really love enjoying trying to help my own local community. I'm part of Rotary, part of, all different kind of functions that help out the community. I've been on the school board. I've actually ran for mayor even. I lost though, but that's okay. So I really like to give back to communities, and then really focus on, if each and every person can give back just a little bit, I think our communities will help thrive, and put aside kind of, sometimes we got to put aside some of our likes or dislikes, or because of this or that. Because at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter, because we need to have the entire community to operate, and everybody's part of that. I mean, you can't just say, we're going to cut a line down the middle and we don't need these people. No, we need them all, because we won't survive and it won't work. Everybody's got to work together. And that's kind of the neat thing about being in a small town. I think we all really realize that, right? Mm-hmm. We know everybody. We may not be all best friends with everybody, but we all respect the fact that we're all here and really want the community to survive. So it's kind of a nice feeling. But like I say, it's tough. And what do I do to try to keep that whole together? Just try to be positive with everybody, try to help everybody. Just because there's a business owner that maybe I've had a bad connection with or something one time, if he asks for my help, he's 100% going to get 100% of me. He's going to get the help.
They say in order to improve or to increase that, the associations and the people that you hang around most are the people that are probably within, a few $1,000s of what you make and the things that you do. And so there's always been a push, at least in my life, and the people when I'm doing personal development, that kind of stuff, that to find new rooms and to find new associations of people. And I can imagine in a small town, those rooms aren't like plentiful where you can just go to, but you're part of like the Rotary, you're part of other people are doing. What is your formula? Because you've talked about growing and learning and figuring out all these different systems. What is your formula for the associations that you keep?
Well, technology has taken us to many, many places.
Yes.
Look where we're at right now today, right? I'm talking to you. I mean, who would ever thought me and you would ever met each other? We probably never would have without technology.
Oh no, we would. There's no way.
There's no way. So as far as that goes, I mean, you can set the community here aside, and I can reach out to anybody now across this rock we live on. I mean, the technology is here. You want to learn something or know about something, you just have to simply go to the computer, your phone, whatever you use, type it in, find somebody, reach out to them, and try to set a meeting. I mean, the technology is there. You want to learn something, do something, you can learn it and you can make it happen. I mean, it's amazing where we're at. And that's exactly how me and you met. We became part of a group that we're both in, and here we are today. We're sitting here having a conversation.
Yeah. Oh, it's so true in how it connects us, and finding groups and finding, associations of people that are like-minded, that are going the same direction. Artificial intelligence, AI, what is tell me about how your thoughts about it and how it's affecting maybe the business in the industry that you're in.
I love AI and I hate AI, but I tell you what, I probably love it more than I hate it, and I'm loving it more and more.
Okay.
Not sure how it's all going to finish, but as of today, it really helps save you some time and some efforts on maybe, developing a couple things, some ideas. It can actually walk you through stuff. I mean, just the other day I said, hey, we're going to start this other little side business, right? I said, hey, this is what we're going to plan on doing, gave it the instructions, and boom, it spits out every little checkpoint that you just need to start checking the boxes off to start it.
Yeah.
I mean, those are handy, right? And that's the simplest way to use it. Now, some people are way more tech savvy and can give it way more directions, but it's a tool, and I want to make sure everybody remembers that it's a tool. It's not a relationship. So make it a tool to build and help your relationships, but don't trust it 100%, because we still always find out it ends up making some mistakes and stuff, especially when you're talking in the financial world, that it'll grab information from somewhere that's not correct. And so you need to be very careful of what you put out there. Don't just copy and paste and send stuff out in the world. You need to proofread it.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I'm scared because I'll talk to people and they'll say, well, I don't feel like paying for a therapist anymore, so I'm just using AI.
Yeah.
And it seems to be pretty scary that, hey, you ask the AI to be one of the number one therapists, and then you start talking to it, and then it could tell you anything. And, I like you said, I love AI to death. I use it every single day, but it is a tool. It is a tool that, like any other tool, the milking machine or the hay baler that you use to make your business work better. So it's just so unique how we do it. When we talk about personal development and, the different stages of your personal development, how much of your time in your week, and because it's not usually a daily thing, do you think you spend on learning and growing instead of, just doing? And maybe what types of personal development do you engage in?
Yeah, it'd be tough to narrow that down. I would like to see how many hours I have in on that. I would have to guess. Mm-hmm. I probably do personal development maybe 2 to 3 hours, maybe a week. But there's times like I've done Tony Robbins events and stuff like that, so you're spending, Tony Robbins events. You better sleep for a week before you go to one, because he doesn't let you sleep. He's good at that. Even though I know he's in the back taking a nap somewhere, but he's got all the other guests and everything running the show, right? Yeah. But that's how it goes. But it's exciting. So a lot of that stuff, and try to take good notes, take what out of it. And a lot of personal development stuff's not for everybody. Mm-hmm. But find the ones you like, find those authors you like, find those people that you can relate to, that hit to your core. And you won't look at it so much as personal development, I don't think. But you'll look at it more as just education and keeping yourself happy and built up, being your own therapist, basically.
Yeah. Is there any books that your favorite books, or ones that you've read that you've reread, or ones that you'd like to share with others that have made a difference, or you just keep reading?
Yeah, I keep reading. I mean, there is the one book that the title threw me off was Grant Cardone's Sell or Be Sold.
Okay.
Book. When I was asked to read that book, I read it. I kind of didn't want to read it because of the name. I didn't like the name, Sell or Be Sold, right? So but then you read it and then you understand what he means by that.
Yeah. You
really need to be sold on what you're selling. So you need to love it that much. And so it just put a spin on it for me when I started financial services, that, you know what, you need to make sure this is the right product. And so that's all I do now, is I just search for the right products. And if I find something better, this one's out the door, this one's in, right? Keep making sure you're offering the best stuff that's out there.
Yeah. That is one of my favorite books as well. The other one is The Atomic Habits.
Yep.
And when I think about the habits that I create on a daily basis and the things that I do, that are routine, that are repetitive, that move me and move the needle. Are there some things that maybe you've pulled out that have made you successful? Like if success leaves clues, which a lot of folks say that it does, if success leaves clues, what are some of the clues that you've gotten that, or you've received, that have allowed you to create some of these habits that make life work?
I'm naturally lazy, so
Okay.
kind of guy. But but I know that because of the self-development stuff, right? So it kind of, you're able to work through that kind of stuff and not make it such an issue. But along those lines, I would have to say, it was an early start for me from the dairy business, right? Like you said, got up early in the morning, milked the cows, went to bed late, everything every day. It was every day, 7 days a week, no matter what, rain or shine. So just the fact that I understood hard work, and it just makes it easier to understand that you just keep moving and pushing forward and to do the right thing. Do what you think is right. Even when somebody's not looking, they say, right? Do the right thing even when somebody's not looking. And that'll take you a long ways. People see it even when you think they don't. And it's, be the first one to, somebody needs a helping hand. Be the first one out there to give it to them. It's okay. And it's okay to do things for free. Don't think you got to get paid all the time.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. Maybe give us three habits that, move the needle for you, that you find maybe, I don't know if it's lacking in other folks, but three things that you do, and you don't have to even say what everybody else does, but three things that you do that move the needle in your life.
I push through my fears.
Okay.
Yeah. That'd be a big one. Joining the chambers and getting up and doing the public speaking, it wasn't really my thing before. It wasn't something I ever thought of doing, and scared to death. Still kind of get nervous to talk to people. I mean, this is easy because it's sitting here, we're having a one-to-one conversation, but in front of a group of people, I do notice I get nervous, but I push through it. Okay. And I think that's a big thing. People need to push through their fears. Don't be afraid. Everybody's got fears. Another thing I probably have to say is, I still truly believe the early bird gets the worm.
Okay. Getting up early. Okay.
Yeah. Early bird gets the worm. I noticed when I was in construction, and an old timer told me this, he goes, don't do business deals after lunch. All the big money is done in the morning, he said, son. That's what he told me. Go meet with the big jobs. You meet them in the morning. You go talk to them. You go shake their hands. Everybody's fresh. Nobody's tired. Nobody's been pissed off yet from something else. It's a fresh day. That's when you have those conversations and set the big deals up.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. So, swing your feet over and get them out of bed and get moving. The other thing is, it's the honesty part. Do what you think is right. That's probably my biggest habit, to a fault, even. I had people say, well, you need to, that person did wrong. You gotta go after it. And I go, you know what? I don't think squeezing anything out of that's going to be worth it. There's not enough juice in it. So I'm just going to let it go. We're going to move on. We're going to move forward.
Yeah.
Don't let bad things hold you down.
Yeah.
I guess that'd be a better way to put it. Don't let the bad things hold you down. Keep moving forward, because before long, they're way behind you.
Wow. One of the things that probably, I know you've been to Tony Robbins, you've been to other, you read Grant Cardone, what are, folks talk about our why, and why we get up every morning early out of bed and do what you do. What would be your whys? What is it that motivates you to do this every day?
The why is the hardest thing for everybody to come across, and we've read lots of books and everything that builds your why. But I come down, I do it. Everybody says they're a kid, right? Well, I think everybody says their kids and their family, whatever. But I watched my whys because I watched my dad on that dairy spend day after day after day after day working to the bone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that for me, even though it was a great life. Don't get me wrong. Love it. Love the cows, love the whole thing. But I don't want that for me. I don't want that for every dairyman. I don't want that for any person in any industry to struggle like I know he did. And it'd just be nice when you have to see those that you help start to thrive, start to have a little relaxation, start to know that they're not stressing every week to go buy groceries and stuff like that. It's nice. I've helped people where they just come up to you in a year or two and they go, man, you set me up with that. That's great. It has saved us. It has saved us, and we appreciate that so much. That's a great feeling. And I think my why would be I want those feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I want them. I mean, it's as selfish as that may sound. I want those feelings. I thrive on that, and that's what I want.
Wow, that's so cool. Name of our show is Living Boldly with Purpose. What does that mean to you? If I were to say to you, what do you do to live boldly with purpose? How would you respond to that?
Everybody wins. That's a key piece. Everybody wins in the way I've designed Corey Nunes Capital now. Everybody wins. There's, like I said, business owner wins, employees win, the nonprofits are winning. And if all those are winning, the community's winning, everybody's going to thrive. Everybody's going to get a little bit more when we can keep things happening within our communities and we can help them see that. Everybody wins. That's it right there. If everybody wins, everything will be better.
Oh my gosh. What a great way to kind of concisely say, this is what it means to live boldly with purpose. And if I can help everybody to win, if I can help everybody to move forward, if I can help everybody to have a better life, then that's why I'm here. That's why, I've been put on this earth to help everybody win. And I think that is so cool. Are there, I guess, your relationships in your life that you go out of your way to make sure that you help, that you go out of your way to make sure, you talked about kids earlier and that kind of stuff with me, but is there, what are some of the things that you're willing to do? It sounds like with the community, you're willing to go out and sponsor a baseball team or, something like that. What are some of the, where you just relentlessly like, I'm going to help this person win, whether they like it or not type thing. What are some of those relationships?
Yeah, we sponsor lots of sports teams. We do all that kind of stuff, make donations here, do donations there. That's all great and dandy. And everybody should if they can. And I don't expect everybody can, So those who can should, those who can't, strive to do better so you can. It's those simple little things. I mean, and nothing has to be financially. You don't have to give financially to give back to the community. Yeah. You simply just walking down the street, picking up garbage, scraping, grass out of the cracks on the sidewalks, whatever you got to do. There's so many other ways to give. And I just think that it just keep striving, moving forward to strive to do the best you can possible. Nobody's perfect in this world.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. If it was, it'd be weird.
Yeah.
It'd be weird. It would be really weird.
Yeah. What's next? What's next for Corey? You're not an old man. You're a young man that has accomplished a lot in his life. And I know there's got to be a vision or a future. You talked about at one point running for office and didn't win, but doesn't mean you're going to do it. Are you going to do it again? Or what is your aspirations? Or tell me about Corey's future.
My aspirations is to really take Corey Nunes Capital to a level to where it'll probably have to be rebranded because no one's going to know who Corey Nunes is at one time, right? But to take it to a level to where my son can take it, he can build it, branch it off, so we can start, for like a better way of putting it, be like Starbucks, have one on every corner. If we were of that size and and it runs the way I have it running, where everybody wins, where the nonprofits are getting everything they need, the business owners are getting everything they need. I mean, I just think we can make such a huge impact on all the communities that we're in. I mean, it's just, it's the amount of money that can stay there in the community to save on the tax dollars, turn again inside a community. It's where everybody's making a piece. We ran scenarios, you know, and it's amazing what the numbers can be. And so we're really working hard right now, like with some of the city managers and stuff like that, to kind of get them to understand that this is a possibility, and we need to be able to get this information out and help these communities everywhere across our country.
Yeah. You have any hobbies? Anything that you just love doing outside of what you do? Or is finances your hobby? My
hobby is work, and I mean, Rotary and that kind of stuff. I mean, it's really I guess I'm built for service.
I love it.
And
I love it.
That's what I like doing. And however I can serve, it keeps me busy, and I enjoy it. I've tried the hunting, I've tried the fishing. I enjoy it all, but it's not really. I don't like to be cold and be in the mud, so a lot of that stuff. Maybe when I was younger, and that's when I tried it, but it just never was really my thing. So, I love spending time with family. Right? We have a big family. We all get together at Christmas. It's one of my most cherished times of the year. Is when we can, all the cousins and aunts and uncles and everybody get together all in one place and have a big Christmas. When we basically, our Christmas is like 3 days long, so it's really, I enjoy that.
Well, they say that if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like you're enjoying, what you do. You're enjoying getting out there. You're helping people. Maybe talk to me. I know as we got a few more minutes left. A Rotary, and you mentioned the Rotary several times, and as I've grown up, I've heard about Rotary. I've been, involved in the chamber and that kind of stuff. But what kind of functions do the Rotary do in maybe smaller towns or bigger towns, or that, because I think it's almost a lost, community of folks that really were out there serving people, but we hardly talk about Rotaries anymore.
Yeah, Rotary's changed hugely over the years, right? Rotary used to be, the manager of the bank, all the CEOs, you had to be of the upper end to be in Rotary. And now anybody can be a Rotary member. It's basically Rotary's theory is service above self. So in my local community here, in our local little Rotary group, we really focus on making sure we help the seniors and making sure we help the kids, right? We kind of have a theory that if you're in between there, you got to go to handle yourself for a while. But if you need a little help, we're here for you. But seniors and the kids, we focus on heavily. So we do our fundraisers, raise money to give out scholarships, help senior resource centers and stuff like that, and wherever things are needed. And that helps the community, right? Everybody's winning. And in our Rotary group, I got in it when I started my construction company, because when I left my employer, telling him I was going out on my own, he was the president of the Rotary group, and he says, "If you are leaving me, you are joining Rotary."
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's how I got in, and I've been president of my Rotary group twice, and been on the board forever. It is it's quite the group, and I think everybody should visit one every now and then and kind of see really what Rotary does. I mean, the international Rotaries, is the one fighting polio. That's where the biggest amount of money goes to, is to end polio. So, which is a great thing, right? If we can end something and something like that, it's great.
Yeah, we've talked, in our conversation about community and about, being in association with people, and with social media and with this technology, I think some people get caught up in thinking that if they scroll a whole bunch of, times on their phone, they're somehow in community because they identify with the people that their cat videos or whatever it is. And I purposely avoid doing a ton of scrolling and a ton of just looking on social media because I truly crave real relationship.
Yeah.
And I don't think you get real relationship from scrolling through videos or, you might think that you know people. I mean, as I think of, some of the barbershops or some of the places that I go sometimes, and it's amazing how I will hear people talk about a famous person and say it's a Patrick Mahomes or a LeBron James or whatever that is. And sometimes they know more about the stats of Patrick Mahomes, who they'll never meet, that even if you ask them for an autograph, probably wouldn't get one if you could get close enough to him. And then in your local community, you don't even know some of the kids or some of the families or some of, have you found that even I don't live in a small town, but in a small town, is it, where folks just love on each other a little bit more?
I think we love on each other a little bit more and we hate each other a little bit more.
I love it. That's good.
I mean, it's a give and take, right? It's always going to be that way. It's human. We're humans. We're not perfect. We just can't be. But I think really all in all, each and every single one of us are good people inside.
Yeah.
And as far as the social media stuff goes, I mean, there's always a lot of hype around it, right? I mean, look at what I'm doing. Look at what I'm doing, right? And that's an issue because this person over here, they may not be able to do that kind of stuff. They may not be able to go on vacations, these areas and these places.
Yeah.
And that person now gets depressed because this person's doing it, that person. There's a kind of that give and take, that love and hate with social media too. It's a great way, I think, for some people to keep in connection with each other as far as, share photos, do whatever. I mean, it's a neat little thing. But you're right. They think they know everything when they're on there scrolling on social media, but they don't know their neighbor.
Wow. I know. It is so crazy. What haven't we talked about today that, as we wind down, that you really wanted to make sure everybody knows? I want to know people how to get a hold of you. But what haven't we explored or talked about today?
Yeah, if somebody wants to get a hold of me, I'm easy to find. Look me up on Facebook, Corey Nunes, Corey Nunes Capital on Facebook. Also, there's LinkedIn. I'm on all the platforms, not aggressively by any means. There is some posting that goes on, but I don't do it. I pay for somebody to do that. But the one thing I want everybody to know, since I am in the financial industry, is don't be afraid to go out and get a second opinion. And a third opinion. You need to really keep your mind open and broad because sometimes people are just selling you a product because that's all they can offer. It may fit you, but it may not be your best fit. Really do your research and don't be afraid to go get that second opinion.
Yeah. So important, especially with your money, because, money can come and go and you can make more money and all that kind of stuff, but it's one of those things we get emotionally attached to and we get devastated if we lose a little bit and we get over emotional. Like when you think about emotions being high, intelligence low, and when intelligence is high, emotions is low. But we got to bring that, and money will create those high emotional things. And so without getting and trying to do your best, and the other thing I guess maybe with you can, whether you agree with me, is you can't just sit on it. You can't put it under a mattress and expect it to do some work for you, right? You got to have it work for you as hard as you're working for it. And I think people miss that. They just throw it in, because they're so afraid of making a decision. That they just don't do anything. And so we don't want to be in that category either. But I love the fact that you're saying, hey, no, you get some opinions, get some people that'll talk to you. My suggestion was that you go on the phone and call Corey and, and say, okay, am I doing this right? Especially if you're watching this and you are a business owner, because a lot of I would say the majority of financial advisors that I come across are personal financial advisors. And sometimes, I think maybe that's great if you're working in corporate, but there's so many nuances that a business owner may have that is not something that, a normal, like you said, product for what is it personal, when you have income coming in consistently every single week. That's a different product than I have a business that has seasons, or I have a business that has ups and downs and that kind of stuff. And so I encourage you to call Corey and let him know, hey, hey, look at what I got. See, help me, and see what's there. Any final thoughts that you have?
No, I really appreciate your time here, Brian. This is great. It's been a pleasure talking to you. It's been talking to our guests out there who are listening to this.
Mm-hmm.
This is nice just to go out there and have a simple conversation, tell a story, and hopefully we'll learn something.
All right, great. Well, thank you for watching today. This is your first episode, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button, notification buttons. We just have some amazing guests, as you can see, just like Corey was today, that just give us real life scenarios of what's happening in real life. And so just want you to remember, you're God's greatest gift. He loves you if you allow him to. And then, that you are born for greatness. And that greatness inside of you needs to jump out. It's time. Let that greatness in you jump out on somebody else. You're also an answer to somebody else's prayer. So just be available to be that answer. Thank you for joining today. Thank you for being part of our community and our world. And we'll look forward to talking to you guys on the next one. Have a great day.